Hello everyone, and welcome to After Alexander. Episode 79, Antiochus in Anatolia. Today, we're finally going to stop procrastinating. Antiochus III has been tugging impatiently at my sleeve, pleading me with his eyes to allow him to go to Anatolia. So, let's swing over to the royal viewpoint once more and start the reprisal clock going. Grab your popcorn and let's see how this plays out. Antiochus III had spent a year getting his forces ready, and in summer 216 BCE he took his forces across the Taurus Mountains and into Anatolia. This was the first time in his entire reign that he was in a territory which he had coveted rule over ever since becoming king back in 223. He found a peninsula which was divided between 5 different kingdoms, as well as a smattering of little monarchs, Egypt, tribes living in the mountains, and independent Greek settlements. Not that Antiochus paid much attention to any of this. No, his eye was squarely aimed at Achaeus the Younger. Antiochus had 2 cards working in his favour. Antiochus had 2 factors working in his favour. In the first instance, the name of the Seleucid dynasty had a powerful impact on the local armies, given that these were of Macedonian stock. We've previously seen this factor affecting Molon's calculations, and as part of the argument for Antiochus heading east against said rebel general in person. Secondly, those nations which had fought over Anatolia were not likely bedfellows. In fact, Attalus I of Pergamon was agreeable to siding with Antiochus III against Achaeus the Younger. For his part, Achaeus might be friendly with Egypt, but they weren't exactly effective allies either. Those of you who have been looking forward to Seleucid vengeance for quite some time are in for a treat. In the ensuing conflict, Antiochus beat Achaeus in battle, and only Sardis remained as an Achaeus stronghold. In 214 BCE, Antiochus III moved on the city. Sardis was a city on the western end of the Persian royal road, and also close to the west coast by the Aegean. What I'm trying to say here is that, as Achaeus had once been one of the big heavyweights in the Anatolian peninsula, the fact that he's been driven all the way here indicates he's in serious trouble. I will pause here to say that, as it's 214 BCE, Antiochus has been in Anatolia for about 2 years, meaning he's been fighting in the peninsula for almost as long as his brother reigned. I don't know whether that says more about how well Antiochus is doing, or how poorly Seleucus did. Anyway, Sardis proved a tough nut to crack, leading to the Seleucid army wearily resigning themselves to just starving the defenders out. However, a man called Logorus in the Seleucid ranks did not agree with this. Still believing Sardis could fall by some other method, he took to eyeing up the ramparts. After all, the mere fact of how strong the walls were would lull those defending Sardis into a sense of security, which could be exploited as there would inevitably be weak points which could be broken through. Logorus eventually found a particular canyon where he saw birds regularly land on the rock above. He found this particular spot to be lacking in defenders. Accordingly, he began using the cover of night to regularly climb the rock face to inspect it. Finally, he went to Antiochus with a plan, which was given the go-ahead. Logorus was given 2 commanders to help him, among them our favourite Theodotus, the one from Anatolia. The plan was this. One night, when the moon would not be present before sunrise, these 3 and 15 soldiers would creep up to the wall to place ladders, while 30 more hung around nearby. The 15 men up the ladders would attack a doorway from the inside, while the 30 forced it from the outside. Once it was broken through, 2,000 soldiers would then rush into the city. So, on the night in question, everyone got themselves ready. Logorus and the others worked for so long that the sun rose, meaning both sides could now see men crawling around the rocks like ants. The Seleucid army, although not knowing the details of what was going on, were gladdened, while Achaeus was confused and a bit worried. He accordingly sent reinforcements to that section of the wall. However, given that the route towards that section was awkward, they wouldn't get there for a while. For his part, Antiochus launched a successful attack at the other side of the city in order to prevent all of this giving his plan away. It was successful in the sense that the Achaean commander Artabazus moved his soldiers to counter this offensive. Just as he did so, in fact moving out of the city to attack the Seleucids, the door by the cliff was forced. Artabazus now found himself caught between the rock of the Seleucid army outside and the hard place of the soldiers now rushing in, so withdrew to the safe confines of the citadel. Sardis was, predictably, put to the sword. Achaeus also retreated to the citadel and was now holed up there. He now had to place his hope in forcing his way through the Seleucids and escaping to Egypt or the mountains. After all, Egypt might be less than gung-ho in its support for him, but they were allies. Still, Antiochus now held the lower part of the city. The picture for the Achaean side was, to put it mildly, less than ideal. That's where we'll leave it for this episode. We'll pick up next time as Egypt sticks its nose into Seleucid business, which seems to be its favourite hobby. As always, thank you all for listening. Feel free to get in touch at the show's email address for any questions, comments, or topic suggestions for future Tangent episodes. Until next time, have a great week, everyone.